All right, morena tato everybody, and welcome to the Triennial meeting for the 2025 to 2028 Triennium for the Taranaki Regional Council. Good to have you all here, and good to be able to get the process underway formally. This is the one time every 3 years the Chief Executive really gets to be in control of his organisation, albeit it only lasts for about 10 minutes or so until we get everybody sworn in and the Chair, Deputy Chair elected. But as we had said at the Porphyry, great to have you all on board and to be here for the Triennial meeting, and great to see your whānau and other support people here as well. We do have an apology from Councillor Davey, who unfortunately has had an incident this morning, so is unable to make it, so we'll organise for him to be sworn in at one of the committee meetings. But before I move to ask for a resolution for that apology, we should also open with our karakia. So ask that everybody join with that opening karakia. Whakataka taho ki te uru, whakataka taho ki te tonga, kia mā kena ki uta, kia mā rata ki tai, kia he aki, kia te kura, he tio, he hoka, he hauhu, te turu o whiti whakamā, kia tina, uie tai ki e. All right, so can I have somebody move, please, that we receive the apology from Councillor Davey, Councillor Cram and Councillor Cloak. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. All right, so we'll move into the taking of the declarations, and I'd like to invite Councillor Bigham to come forward, please.
Ko ahau, ko Bonita Joanne Bigham, e oati ana ka whai ahau I te pono me te tōkeke. E runga hoki I te mutunga kē mai o aku pukinga, o aku whakatau hoki kia whakatutaki, kia mahi anō hoki I te mana whakahaere, te mana whakatau me ngā momo mahi, ko uhia ki runga I a au, kia whiwhi painga mo te rohe o Taranaki, hei kai kaunihira o te kaunihira ārohe o Taranaki, e ai hoki ki te ture kāwanatanga a Taiao, 2022, ki te ture kāwanatanga a Taiao, whakapai I te hui, potahi mano e iwarau e 87, me e tihi ture anō rānei. Kia ora.
Just sign there. Thanks.
Tēnei te mihi aroha kia koe te kārangarua ki tō opinga mai ki te tēpū nei anei anō te wero ki a koutou te kaunihira, whakapākiri ki tēnei mokopuna o poraukau tūkau, ko ia te māngai o koro, o te wai, o ngā uri, I te kākano o rangi a te
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cloak.
I, Morris John Cloak, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of the Taranaki Regional Council the powers and authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Taranaki Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 and any other act. Thank you.
Sign the pen there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just anywhere here?
Just in here, yep. Right. Cool, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Whoops.
Back.
Put it down there, yep. Thank you. Good, thank you. Councillor Cram.
No more fingers. Not even going to look from toes.
Yeah, I have the same problem.
I, Donna Marie Cran, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of the Taranaki region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Taranaki Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act.
Yeah, that's right. Lovely, thank you. All right, Councillor Hughes, if I can ask you to read your declaration, please.
I would struggle to read it as I don't have it with me.
Oh,
It's not the typical thing I would bring on holiday.
it's on the
but
agenda. It's in the agenda.
Okay. Well, so let's carry on with the next one.
Can I suggest that somebody read it and I can confirm that I accept that oath? Isn't that why I signed? Yeah.
Page 9 of the agenda, Susan, have you got that?
Page.
No.
So what if we send it to her?
We'll get you a copy. Councillor Jamieson, have you got a copy there in front of you?
Yes, I have.
Thank you. So if you can read yours, Councillor Jamieson, that would be appreciated.
Thank you. I, Alan Lloyd Jamieson, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of the Taranaki region the powers, authorities and duties invested or imposed upon me as a member of the Taranaki Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Jamieson. Councillor Kennedy.
I, Lee James Kennedy, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Taranaki region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Taranaki Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Information Act and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act.
Thank you. Lovely. Excellent. Councillor Maxwell.
I, John Robert Maxwell, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Taranaki region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Taranaki Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act.
Councillor Walker.
You should remember it off heart. Nearly been here long enough.
10 times he says he's run out of fingers now.
Absolutely. Faithfully declare that. Neil William Walker declare that I faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of the Taranaki region the power, authorities and duties vested in or imposed me as a member of the Taranaki Regional Council by virtue of Local Government Act 2002 and the Local Government Official Information Act 1987 or any other act.
Great, if you can sign for us. Thanks, Neil. Excellent, thank you. And Councillor Williamson.
I, Craig Stewart Williamson, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of Taranaki region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Taranaki Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act.
Excellent, thank you. And Councillor Young.
I, Jonathan Edgar Joseph Young, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Taranaki region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Taranaki Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 and any other act.
Excellent, thank you. Excellent. All right, Councillor Hughes, have we managed to get you a...
Yes, thank you. So I, Susan Wendy Hughes, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Taranaki region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Taranaki Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act.
Excellent, thank you, Councillor Hughes. All right, so that completes the taking off the oaths of declarations. You have there a report that asks you just to receive the procedural briefing on this part of the process, and also has a recommendation in there that you endorse the current Council Code of Conduct as being appropriate for you to use for this triennium, which is there. There's been some minor legislative updates made to it, but otherwise it's very consistent with the current Code of Conduct, which continues to apply anyway. And as noted in the report, we are expecting that there'll be a new national Code of Conduct approved and put in place once the Local Government Systems Improvement Act goes through its final stages of parliamentary process. So hence why we've very much kept the process the same. So there's some recommendations there to receive that report and endorse the current Code of Conduct as appropriate. Happy to take any other questions on it, or staff or from councillors. Councillor Cram.
So the new one, will that be across everybody and
Yes. Yes, so the government's going to legislate that you must use the national standard, and that's been through a public consultation process, and as I said, the law's before the Select Committee at the moment to support that, so we'll bring that back once that law change and the final Code of Conduct is released. All right, so somebody happy to move, there's no further questions, someone happy to move those recommendations?
Happy to move.
Thanks, Councillor Williamson. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second, Chair.
Councillor Cloak. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. All right, so the moving to the next item, election of a chairperson. You have there the report that outlines the process in terms of voting procedures. If we receive more than one nomination for the chairperson's role, then there are two voting processes there that can be followed, option A and option B, but before we get to that stage, can I please call for nominations for the position of chairperson?
So I nominate Craig Williamson.
Councillor Williamson, moved by Councillor Cram. Is there a seconder for that nomination?
I'll second.
Councillor Walker seconding. Are there any other nominations? Can I then ask that we move motion, presumably moved by Councillor Cram, seconded by Councillor Walker, that Councillor Williamson be elected as chairperson? All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Congratulations, Councillor Williamson, and welcome to the hot seat.
Thanks, Steve.
Cool.
Perhaps you could take your name tag with you. We don't know who you are.
That's right. I'm passing over everyone.
Steve.
So, I believe the first thing I have business. Is that right?
Yes, please, yes, take the chairperson's declaration. Yep.
I, Craig Stewart Williamson, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of Taranaki region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Taranaki Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act. Done?
Thank you.
We'll start with some note of that.
Okay, so moving on then, here we go. Item number 5, the election of deputy chairperson. We just need to note that the amendments made to paragraph 15A and 16 to include deputy chairperson call for nominations for the position of deputy chairperson in Taranaki Regional Council. And there are a bunch of recommendations there, pages 213 to 214, A to F. Do we need 1 or 3 deputy chairs? Sorry. 1, of course. I would like to nominate Bonita Bingham to be deputy chairperson.
And I'd love to second that.
Thank you, Tom. Any other nominations? Appears there are none. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? There are none. Well done. Okay, we're just going to adjourn the meeting for a minute or two, just in case any members of the public would like to leave, if they choose to, and then we can go on with the rest of the meeting after that. Won't be so fun.
Go back to work.
Good to go again?
Yep.
Whenever went offline, did
We're all good, hey? Yep.
Okay, item number 6, general explanation of Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act. Steve.
Thank you, Chair. This is one of those procedural requirements we have to cover, where we've outlined for you the different legislative requirements that we need to cover in this meeting as per the Local Government Act. We gave you a bit of a verbal briefing on these issues at the briefing meeting we had a couple of weeks ago, so look, I'm happy to take it as read, but very happy to answer any questions that members may have.
Steve, are there any questions? Points of clarification? There appear to be none. The recommendations are there on page 221, 222, A all the way through to M. Could I have a mover, please? Bonita, seconder. Neil, thank you very much. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? There are none. Nicole, item number 8, committee, joint committee and other committee appointments. Are we up to that? No, item number 7, sorry. Nicole, again, committee structures in terms of reference.
No pressure, it has been a busy 6 weeks for me, Chair.
No
While you guys have been electing, I've been writing reports for you.
Well done and thank you.
The report before you proposes the committee structures in terms of reference for the next triennium. Page 244 of your agenda outlines the recommended composition, delegated authorities and scope for each of those standing committees, ensuring that it's strategically aligned to Council's priorities and the long-term plan. I'll take the report itself as read, and between myself, Mike, the Director of Corporate Services, and the Chief Executive will happily respond to any of your questions.
Okay, any questions? So once this is done, all the committees are set up, are they, Nicole?
Yes,
Neil.
Mr Chair, if I could raise a couple of matters just in that list of things that are there. And there's 2 matters. One is number F, which is the matter of the Executive Committee. And in that, of course, is the introduction of an independent committee member. Now, I'm not really sure. I'd like some questions about why that is felt to be necessary. Firstly, we've had in Mr Clote, who's done a very good job over the last period, and we've had audits done for a long time, and there's never been anything really a problem. And we've been over some difficult things like the Euro Stadium and other crises during that time. I'm aware that these things are expensive because I have to do it myself. I've had a report, have appointed independent directors for some of my companies, and I've also had a recent reevaluation by a paid group what it would be. And it seems to me that something like this is probably going to cost, doesn't say anything about that, but it's probably going to cost about $40,000 or $50,000 by the time you've paid somebody to do it. So I just want to, I think it's quite an expense to actually get in, particularly as we've got the, obviously the rates cap problem coming ahead. I just feel that in some ways we're kind of sorting in between. Now, you can have you can have just somebody locally doing the job, Mr Clote's done a good job, or you can actually have an independent chair. But this seems to be somewhere in between, and I just wonder what this person's going to actually do, because they're going to come to the meetings, but they don't have the authority that the chair would have to actually look at various things and get into depths in the same way. And I wouldn't want to be like I see in some organisations where people come in just for the day, go out again, and they don't really add a lot. So with my long experience, and I've been on a number of these committees myself, and I've even been a chair of one, and the whole cost of this exercise, I just wonder if we could have a bit of an explanation of why it was, and whether we should reconsider it in some way.
Absolutely, right. We'll throw that one back to officers. Steve, is this you or Nicole?
I'm happy to make some initial comments, and then Mr Neil and Nicole may wish to comment further. Well, the recommendation is in there because it is seen as good practice across not only local government, the broader public sector. Very strongly recommended by the Auditor General himself at the moment, but has also been previously and has been recommended good practice for a long period of time, to the extent in which he regularly comments on the extent of it, suggests the range of skills that are needed across local government and broader public sector for a number of years. And we would be the exception rather than the norm if we were not to have somebody independent sitting on our audit and risk committee. I think there is a fair discussion about this committee has a broader terms of reference than a typical audit and risk committee. And again, so you may want to consider the scope of what the Executive Audit and Risk Committee covers and whether that's appropriate, which would influence, as the report notes, potentially the cost of an external person being engaged. But again, the cost of that is something that you work through and consider as part of the process with the recruitment process for the particular role. At the end of the day, it's entirely at the discretion of the council as to what they wish to do. It's simply recommended good practice from the Auditor General, Institute of Directors and other bodies that provide sources of good practice advice on these sorts of issues. Mr Neal, I don't know if there's any other comments you wish to add.
Mike. Chair, covered it off nicely, but first before I make any comments, congratulations on your book as Chair. Local government is increasingly seen as a very risky undertaking. We have many challenges coming up in front of us, and we'll start talking about those in the next part of our induction and our strategic planning days ahead of the 27-37 long-term plan. Normally with the board of directors and the like, you undertake a process of doing a skills matrix, and you say, well, this is where we have strengths and where we have weaknesses, and you look to plug those gaps. We can't do that in a local government setting. It's a democracy and a local election process that goes on. So that combination of bringing in dedicated local government expertise together with an increasingly risky, complex environment that we operate in is exactly why the Auditor General and that common practice of having an independent member, if not an independent chair, of your Audit and Risk Committees is standard practice in local government.
Thank you. Nicole, anything that you'd like to add?
It's about building public confidence in your decision making, and quite frankly, councillors fed back prior to the elections that they wanted to see this suggested, so we're effectively acting on what you wished. To give you that detail there, you've had Mr Bruce Robinson there as an independent. Yes, he was there to represent Yarra Stadium, but I believe he provided great insight into the stadium and showed his skill set, which probably supports what we're proposing here, but as has been said, it's your decision.
Thank you. Susan, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I did. I strongly support the inclusion of independents. I think we're out of step with almost any other body, and it is the best way for us to protect ourselves from any accusation of not doing things as they should be, and as I say, is in keeping with modern governance in any event.
Thank you. Would anyone else, Tom?
What we haven't heard today is, and Neil so lightly points out, is the cost of this, of doing this going forward, and where is that money coming from? You mentioned the cost to ratepayers, etc. So, what is the cost? Have we got a cost? Sort of said 40, 50,000. We don't know.
Right.
So I just want some backup on where that money is likely to come from without going back to the ratepayer again.
Chair, I understand that the New Plymouth District Council pays in the order of 20 to 25,000 per annum for their independent. We would have to go to market and ascertain, depending on who you end up with. That money is currently unbudgeted, so it would be a new budget line in the governance area. and in accordance with your revenue and financing policy, that is a generally rated expense.
I think also, Mike, there are differing ways of remunerating these positions, and there are different ways. So if the position was approved, we would pull together for you some advice on the different ways of remunerating those positions. And indeed, you have some precedents already with the other external members you have on your committee structure that this, in effect, is no different to those. So now, for the skill you're seeking in there is different. So we would bring you some advice on a range of options for remuneration of a position like this, and ultimately it becomes a decision as to how you want to do it. Now, that will also affect, arguably or potentially, who you might attract, but there are options there.
Well, I think that's good. What we do need, we don't want any surprises coming out of it, and we agreed about having a base of where it's going to be funded from. I think it is important, and that skill against the remuneration.
Yeah.
So if we could have something back, I'd like to see something back before we approve this.
Well, really, again, we'd be seeking your guidance on what you want, because there are different ways of going to the market saying we're happy to negotiate and agree a particular arrangement, and you attract one set of potential applicants. You could go to the market and say we're going to pay you nothing, and you attract another set. And you can go to the market and say we're going to pay you what we pay our other community members in these arrangements, or we're going to go to the market and pay a set fee, which again is reasonably widely done, for example, in the public sector. Central government agencies, there's a Crown fees framework in place for all sorts of public sector governance appointments. And so we would bring together you to you through a process of saying, here's a range of options, here are the pros and the cons, and here's the range of skill sets that we would suggest you need. And again, that's relevant to have regard to, as Mike says. A skills matrix is a very common best practice tool that, in fact, you use for your Port Taranaki directorships. You can't do a skills matrix till you know who else is sitting around the council table. Now that we know, we would advocate, if we were going to be consistent with good practice, that you complete a skills matrix of the skills we have got around the table, given the results of the election process, and have regard to that in terms of when you're looking at how you fill, if you were to fill an external professional on the Audit and Risk Committee.
Absolutely. Got it. Crystal clear. Thank you, Steve. Something to add, Tom?
Well, if the discussion's finished, I'd like to move that we do that.
Benita's got something to say first.
Thanks, Tom. Two things, and yes, Steve, I totally agree. I think it's about examining the skill set that currently sits, or that will sit in that committee, to identify the gaps. Because often the assumption is made that it needs to be a financial person, and if you already have that knowledge and skill set in the committee, why would you just go out and get another financial person? And I think we also need to look at the scope of what the committee currently considers as its core business and see if that's still fit for purpose, and what other areas or what other developments in the audit and risk area need to be included as something that we keep an eye on. So first, what do we want to have oversight over? And second, what skill set does already exist within that committee? And third, what kind of skills are we looking for from the community to come and fill any gaps?
Makes a lot of sense. I see
Mr.
Steve
Chair,
noting that. Neil.
Mr. Chair, as I say, I agree absolutely with what the people are saying, and I understand what Susan's saying about independence, and I think that's a good thing. It just seems to me that if it's not done right, you kind of almost got a chair and another independent person, and there could be a sort of whose responsibilities and that kind of issue, because the chair is at the moment the person who sits in these things. So I'd be, if it's helpful, I'd be prepared to move that we just delay this F, I think it is, delay this F until the next meeting, and ask the CEO if he would be prepared to put a report and cover the points that these people have made.
I don't believe that's what the people sitting around this table are saying, but does anyone want to entertain seconding that? motion?
Well, it'd be
So
good to.
the motion
I think we
fails.
need to form the committee, and then, because this could take
Yes,
months.
we've got some notes on where to head from now. We've got some clarity on what this all means. Tom, did you want to? Oh, actually, before we move on from recommendation F, does anyone want to talk about any of the other letters?
Yes, there is one. It's not any of those recommendations, but it's the thing. It's an omission rather than anything else, which is we've got the Consents and Regulatory Committee, and if you look at, it's not mentioned as any of these items, and yet the Federated Farmers person has come off it. And I personally think that it's been a valuable thing to have a Federated Farmers person there. It's been the case throughout the whole of my term of 10 terms that's been the case. And one of the big things I think is important about is to keep the confidence of the farming community. And one of the things that we tend to find is that because we've got a Federated Farmers person on there, a lot of the conflict that might exist because someone is prosecuted or something, they do know that a farming representative is there, and we've never had any problems with this. And I think that other councils seem to have a situation where they are apparently in conflict with farmers and so forth, and we've never had that kind of thing. So I just feel that changing the status quo in that situation is not a good step. So I would like to see that person restored to the committee.
I must say that I'm surprised this didn't come up in the induction.
Yes.
When we
discussed all this.
When we discussed all of this.
That's what we discussed at the induction.
Suddenly we're bringing it up.
Well, maybe I
committee.
didn't notice.
That
I
was
don't know.
a good time to talk about it and get a better understanding of the whys. Donna.
And just a point of clarification, we did discuss, well, I didn't notice that the person had been taken off ops and regs, but the person that would be on there if this council decided upon it is someone that is a Balanced Farm Environment Award winner, and I think that they have added value to now, and I would really like to make an amendment that we include that Feds person on there.
Okay, so it wasn't noticed. Anita.
I'm a bit frustrated because this was in our pack when we came to induction. We had the opportunity then to have all these discussions. If there is going to be a representative of the farming community appointed to ops and regs, I would question why it needs to be a federated farming person. PKW is the biggest farming operator in the Rohe. Could they be considered to come and sit in that space instead? So I just would, if there is going to be a representative of the farming community, I'd like more discussion to be around who that may be.
That's a very good point. Susan.
When this matter, excuse me, came up when we had our POFRI in the meeting thereafter, I spoke in support of the retention of the Federated Farmers person. So I apologise if I haven't realised that it's not in fact.
That was, sorry, Susan, that was on policy and planning.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
That's the one that we talked about.
Yeah, I apologise.
No discussion about
myself.
I didn't notice it missing at the time.
Well, rather than make decisions like this in the heat of the moment, my recommendation is, and I'm sure that we can discuss this further down the track, and we could bring on another person if we chose to. Would that be by order of a motion in an ordinary meeting, Steve?
Well, Chair, it's also, we do have them under policy.
Yes.
And that's where I think they really should fit. And they always have had a strong voice in that committee. And we can always bring them in for an advisory role should we need it at any meeting. So I think the status quo is perfectly all right. It's not as if they're out altogether. They've got a very strong voice in that policy.
Any other comments?
Just so I'm clear, so we currently have had it in the previous triennium, and in this one we're looking to remove it.
No, we're not. Well,
no,
we're not removing it. It's just not there, and it went through. Obviously, it went through the induction and that last meeting. And
clear,
we talked. Right. Actually, we did talk about, as Susan says, the policy and planning one, but this one.
But we
wasn't
never
spoken
talked
to.
about ops and regs, and I never noticed that it had been taken off. Something that, the operations of the council affect the rural people mainly, like biosecurity. We really do want them to be on board with what we do and on the journey, and I think that we are successful as a council with 8.2 million plants in the ground and all the fencing done, because we have had everybody around the table, and I think it's been really successful, and we can look to the other 10 councils and say they haven't got it, but in reality we're probably ahead of the other 10 councils because we have got it.
So we're the only one with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we are successful, and other councils look to us because of that.
Now, look, I'm hearing you all, but I'm also taking on board Benita's point. Should it just by default be a Federated Farmers rep, or should we have I think we just need a bit more information about who that rep would be, if there is
a good thing.
And the value that it adds, and get a better understanding. I don't want to make a decision adding people to committees, adding positions to committees right now in the heat of the moment.
So what's happening is you're bringing it back at some stage to discuss.
Yes.
What you're saying.
That's a good move.
Okay.
Just a point of clarification. In the meantime, does that mean we're confirming the committee as it's been presented today to be brought back again for consideration about?
We're confirming the structures as they're being presented today. And
is that right?
Chair, if I can assist, I think there's some commonality in the process you might use. What I'm hearing is you're wanting to have a look at how do we identify some of these community members that might be appointed to the committees. If and who, and there's a degree of commonality between the very issues that were raised. In fact, a similar set of issues raised with the Executive Audit and Risk Committee scope. So I would actually suggest we look at packaging both issues together and give you a range of options, process-wise, as well as skill set-wise and all the rest of it.
Cost-wise.
And cost-wise as well. Yeah. Yes, because it's the same issue applies. Absolutely, yes. There is a cost with community representatives being on these committees that we should also recognise as we go forward. So we would look to package the options for you in one paper covering the different committee functions.
So just so I'm clear, this role was previously in the Operations and Regulatory Committee in previous training, right? So
in
this
the
is
last 30 years.
Yeah. So we're looking to not produce that going forward, and we are looking at an additional role for the audit and risk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not an extra role, but
yeah,
one less councillor and external, because that's best practice.
Something different, yeah.
Correct. Right, I think we've had a good discussion on all of this. I'm going to move the recommendations on page 21 to 22. This is item number 7, or A all the way through to M, noting the discussion we've had and the work that's going to happen.
All right, well, considering that, Mr Chair, I will support your motion.
Okay.
And looking forward to getting that last bit tidied up at some other time.
All right, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? There are none. Item number 8, Nicole. Committee, Joint Committee and Committee Appointments, page 261.
So the report that's presented there to you has a stack of placeholders which effectively just reinforce, I guess, the decisions you've just made around the committee structures. I have to table with you guys the recommended appointments from the chair. If there's anything further that you want to...
So most of you have been briefed on these. You've been briefed on what roles we're hoping that you would do. I know that some of you wanted more, but obviously with 3 new councillors, I wanted the 3 new councillors to be on both standing committees. We've done that in the past, and I think it's very good practice so that they get a good overview of everything. There simply is not enough positions for everybody, but everybody has got something. Susan and Alan, Susan, I have you down as the Chair of Ops and Rec. I have you on Policy and Planning. I have you on Audit and Risk. And I have you on the CEO Liaison Committee and the Public Transport Committee. So status quo as per last time. Alan, you are the same as last time as well. I think, let me just double check, you're on the Ops and Reg, no room for you on Policy and Planning, you're on Exec, Audit and Risk, you're on the Regional Transport Committee, State Highway 3 Working Party, and on the Passenger Transport Joint Committee. Everybody else, you can see yours in front of you.
Mr. Chair, I've also said that as far as I'm concerned, have a fairly light set of things there, but if anybody has any, say, can't be there or some other thing, or you want me to do anything to cover something for somebody who can't be there, I'll be happy to step in and do it.
Absolutely. Having read that declaration a total of 10 times, Neil, you're well versed in everything, I'm sure. So we'll take that forward. Thank you.
Do we do the agency thing now?
Do we need to formally?
No, we don't. It's covered in here. The zone rep thing. No, we don't need to cover
National
it.
Council one.
No, we don't need to cover it formally.
Informally, yes.
I'm happy to move those
Happy
appointments.
to move, put over seconder, please.
Yep.
Thanks, Lee. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? There are none. So they can now go in the minutes and be formalised. Thank you very much, everybody. Moving on, appointment of iwi reps, item number 9, page 226, and Nicole again.
Thank you, Chair. I did mention I've been busy. This memorandum is a mechanism for Council to receive the appointments of the individuals that have been nominated by Te Tōpuni Ngārahu Trust, formerly Ngā Iwi o Taranaki. These appointments are made in accordance with the Treaty Settlement Acts for Te Atiawa, Taranaki Iwi and Ngāruahine. We recognise the wealth of skills, experience and mātauranga Māori that these individuals will bring to the committees that they've been appointed to, and the table within the recommendations outlines the individuals and the relevant committees that they're appointed to. Happy to take the paper as written any questions that you might have.
Questions, comments? Benita?
Just a comment. Thank you, Nicole. And he mihi aroha tēnei ki ngā iwi katoa huri noa te maunga. So a huge mihi out to our iwi partners around the maunga who have put a lot of work into getting the reps to this first meeting. It hasn't always been like that, so sometimes we've waited.
Yes, I second that.
So I really appreciate the work that went into that, the fact that these people have put themselves forward, very experienced people. And just as I mentioned at the last hui, even though these appointments directly relate to only 3 iwi settlements, when the mountain puts out the call, all the iwi respond. So they're not just reflective of the 3 iwi who have settled or have these arrangements in their settlements, but they are reflective of all the iwi around the maunga. Kia ora.
Thank you. Would you like to move the recommendation, Benita? Yes.
I'll be happy to second it and just acknowledge that the people that we've got seem to be of a very competent standard, and we're looking forward to working with them in the next 3 years.
Absolutely, can't wait to get going. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? There are none. Item number 10, we have the proposed meeting dates on 269. And if there are any meetings that you can't attend because you're away or what have you, let us know in advance. There is a process there. Generally, you let the chair of the committee know, and
governance, and Nicole.
And the governance team, the director in charge of that committee, and Nicole, sorry. And myself, if it's an ordinary meeting. Okay, so the meeting days, we have to move them. The recommendations there are on page 269. I'll second that. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? There are none. Date of the first ordinary meeting, 16 December. And we can close now. So let's do a karakia to close and a karakia to court. Okay. Kia ora. We do have lunch coming up, and we'd love you guests to stay as well, and I hope everybody can say goodbye to eat. Karakia for time. Mai.
I do worry.
Oh yeah. Alan and Susan, thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your days.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.